Now I want to talk about types of news stories. Just like there's different types of academic writing, so you have essays and speeches, there are different types of journalistic writing. I'm going to talk about three different types. The first is a preview story. You guys do a wonderful job of preview stories. That's basically a story about an event, a speech, a workshop, play, art exhibit, music, concert, comedy show, whatever it may be, that's going to happen in the future. So it's happening on Friday, or it's happening next week, or even next year. Your goal is to give the readers key information on which they can base their decisions on whether they want to attend. Okay. So you're giving information like times, dates, days of the week, a little information about what's actually going on, what to expect when they get there, even all the way to an address. And most importantly, especially with online journalism, is you want to give them that link, right? Where can I buy the tickets? Where can I learn more about this show? You always provide the link at the end so they can click on it and go straight to it. This is an example, as you can see, straight from Relaciono's Facebook page. Again, you guys do a wonderful job of this. You're already writing preview stories. Just add that language to it. Guys, let's write a preview story about this upcoming comedy show, or this upcoming concert, or an upcoming town hall meeting, things like that. So you guys are doing a great job at this already. It's well organized. So that's a preview story. The next type of story I want to talk about is a news brief. The technical definition of this is a collection of short stories or a single story presented in one or two short paragraphs or less. Now, a paragraph in journalism is also called a transition, and it can be one sentence, and that's it. You know, a regular paragraph in English writing is 5 to 7 sentences at the least. In journalism, it can literally be one sentence, because if you've gotten the information, that's all you need to do, right? So a news brief, as exampled over here, is where you give a very brief sentence or two about what is happening. You can post a picture, or what you all do a lot is those live videos. News briefs are really for when you don't know all the details. Most of the time. That's usually when you would write a news brief. So you guys, I'm sure you heard about this shooting at the Mobile, and you just went there because that's what you guys do. You just show up, and which is great. But you don't have all the information yet because you literally just got there, right? All you know is that something's going down at the Mobile and you need to be there. So you still need to inform the public about that, which is what this news brief is for. You're letting them know, hey, there was a shooting here. Here's what the scene looks like now, like dozens of police cars, things like that. Ideally, once you've put that out into the ether, onto Facebook or whatever, you also let them know, hey, when we get more details, we will update this, or we will update you as details come into us, things of that nature. Because once you've hooked them with a news brief, you definitely want to go on to what I'm going to talk about next, which is straight news. Straight news is also called hard news. I don't know why but that's what it's called. So if you hear hard news, it's the same as straight news. This is your basic news story. What you would generally, like if you were to open a newspaper, you're mostly going to see what is called straight news, right? It's a straightforward account of factual news with little or no comment or analysis. Now, this right here, little or no comment or analysis, I personally feel is a little different for you guys. You all say something to the effect of, we are from the community, we do stories about the community, things of that nature. And I think with that comes the experience and the expertise to kind of throw a comment or some analysis in there, because it directly involves you guys most of the time. So take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, you want to stay objective. You don't want to go into a story or go into an event having a pre-notion of what's going on. You don't want to have your own biases or your own slant on the story to impact it at all. So keep that in mind as well, but there's a good balance between the no comment and also having expertise in what you know about your community. You guys, again, already do straight news stories. I'm going to show you about some structures in the next video, but you always start with your headline up top, and that's usually how it's done on online media or online news. So great job with the headline. We have all the main information at the top, which is the most important. This is what happened. You get straight to the point. That's what you have to do in these straight news stories because just like an online audience, they want to know right now what's going on. Like you guys in your live videos, people are always saying, recap, tell me what's going on, what's happening, because they didn't catch that information, right? They want to know what's happening. So you put that at the very top, and that's awesome. And you continue with little details, more details like that, and with the least important stuff at the bottom. That's a straight news story, and you guys do a great job of that already. Now that we've talked about 3 different types of news stories, which are the main things that most journalists are working on at all times, why is it important? Why is knowing this important at all? First, it's good to have that professional knowledge and language. Like I said before, it's awkward to talk to a journalist and not have that language already. You're already doing the things, you know how to do this stuff, but you might not necessarily have the language to go along with it. So having that is really nice. Style and structure knowledge, knowing what types of stories you need to write when, things of that nature. Data collection. It's so important to know what types of stories you're writing, but specifically what types of stories people are interested in. Are they liking the news briefs the most, where you just give like a picture and a sentence? Are they liking the preview stories the best? Are they really interested in upcoming events? Or are they really interested in these longer stories with more information in them, maybe along with a video or a picture? Is that what they're interested in? You need to know that type of stuff. So it all happens with audience engagement. It's also important to know what type of story is appropriate for the story actually being told. If you know there's an upcoming event, it's essential that you're writing a preview story specifically to get that information out to the public. And then maybe once you go to the event, you can write a straight news story about it, right? If you walk in on a crime scene, well, am I going to sit here and try to write a full straight news story right now? Or am I going to do a news brief really quick to get the news out to people and then get the straight news after I have my information? So it's good to know what type of story fits the occasion. Content is important, but if you're not reader friendly, those stories will not reach people. This is going a little bit more beyond why it's important. Ultimately, you are an awareness factor. You want the community to know and understand what's going on in their community, which has been difficult in the past, especially since the major news outlets really that don't talk about, the North County area fairly or even at all. So y'all's news organization is essential, which also means it's necessary for you guys to make sure that they can read those stories. And that's called readability. In an English class, I want my students to write at about a 7th grade level on average. That's about as high as one can write in high school until you get on to college and are an English major or something like that. But the average person in the United States, not just your audiences everywhere in the U.S., typically have problems reading anything above a 3rd or a 4th grade readability level. So here I've attached or linked what's called a readability checker into this slideshow. You can basically copy and paste your news stories into that, and it'll tell you what level that it's written on. So ideally, you want to be around the 3rd or 4th grade level so your audience, in a general sense, can understand and read it, right? So you can use that. Write Clearly is a Chrome add-on. I don't know how often you guys use Google Docs to type your stories or if you just type it straight into Facebook. Either is fine. I would recommend typing it into Google Docs so you have a storage system and you can bring up stories easier. But you can use Write Clearly add-on. And reader friendliness, again, is just really important. So ultimately, knowing what type of news story you're writing is essential, not only for you guys, but for your audience as well. Next, we are actually going to talk about news writing structures. So click on the next video for that.